Mission friends.
Saddle up for our Wednesday mission moment. Today's ride includes a story trail about a North American missionary in Idaho and a famous lady named Annie Armstrong. First, I want to share a story with you about a man named Matthew. This story can be found in Matthew chapter 9. It's called Matthew's Big Moment. Taxes, taxes, taxes. Pay your taxes. Day after day, I collected money from people and gave it to the Roman government. My name is Matthew, and I was a tax collector. Most people didn't like to pay taxes. People didn't like tax collectors either. Sometimes tax collectors took more money than they were supposed to take. This made people upset. One day, I was sitting at the tax collection place and Jesus walked by. You know what he said? He looked at me and he said, "Follow me." Can you believe it? He said, "Follow me." Jesus asked me, a tax collector. I immediately got up and I started following Jesus. Later on that day, I invited Jesus and the other disciples to have dinner at my house. Many other tax collectors and sinners were there, and we ate together. Boy, did we have a good dinner. Those Pharisees, though, they wanted to know what was going on. They couldn't believe Jesus was eating with sinners. They were upset. They asked the disciples, why does the teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? You know what? Jesus heard them and he said, "Go and learn what this means. I want mercy and not sacrifice. I have not come to get those who think they are right with God to follow me. I have come to get the sinners to follow me." You know what that looks like? It's a picture of the cross. You know what the cross looks like? Got a picture of that? That's right. Come follow me. Guess what though? Jesus changed my life. I'm so glad he invited me to follow him, and I'm so thankful Jesus is a friend to sinners like me and you. Well, wasn't that a good story? Well, let me tell you about another story. Just like Matthew pursued God, so do our North American missionaries. Matthew, when Jesus said, "Follow me," did he stop what he was doing? He did stop. He said, "Oh, Sandman." Jesus said, "Follow me." Matthew stopped what he was doing and immediately he followed Jesus. Matthew chose to go for it. He chose to pursue God's plan for his life. This story teaches us that we too should quickly pursue God with an unshakable faith and follow his plan for our lives. Well, you know what? Just like Matthew, so do our North American missionaries. Today I want to tell you about a story. But first I want you to pretend that you're on a ranch. Look around. On a ranch there's lots of cattle and there's lots of horses.
And
It
dogs.
takes a lot of cowboys, doesn't it, to run a ranch?
And I'm a cowgirl.
And you a cowgirl. It takes a lot of work. Well, Pastor Mike recognized that the cowboys needed to have a place to worship. He just thought they needed a place where they can get up on their horse and ride to church. Can you believe that? Woo-wee! So Pastor Mike started a church called the Lemmy River Cowboy Church in Idaho. Guess what? He reaches cowboys for Christ. Yet you know what else he did? He even hosted a junior rodeo for the kids. And that way, as there's a rodeo going on, he could pass out Bibles and tell about Jesus. He even had some bluegrass Christian music going on. But even Pastor Mike, he shares a story about how he baptizes people. You know, I thought about that just this past Sunday. What happened? We saw a baptism out in front of our church. It was out in the middle of the yard, wasn't it? Well, I picture Pastor Mike doing the same thing. All right, it's cattle roundup time. So listen to the story Pastor Mike shared. Every time I say the word cowboy church, boys and girls, I want you to say, yee-haw. And every time I say Pastor Mike, I want you to say, howdy. You ready for it, Reese? All right, here goes the story. Well, there was a lady named Sandy, and she was so excited about coming to the cowboy church. Yee-haw! And Sandy and her husband named Roy, and they've been married for many, many years. But you know what? She could never get her husband Roy to come to church. So Sandy went to the first worship service at the new cowboy church. Yee-haw! She told Pastor Mike, howdy! This church is for my husband. I can finally get him to go to church. It turned out that the cowboy church, yee-haw, was for both of them. Just a few weeks later, Sandy was the first person to be baptized at the new cowboy church. Yee-haw! Later on, Roy and Sandy had to move. Oh, but you know what? They found another church. And they went to a cowboy church. Yee-haw! But one day, old Roy called up Pastor Mike. Howdy! And he said, Pastor Mike, if I come back on Sunday night, would you baptize me? And Pastor Mike said, howdy! Why do you want to be baptized? And you know what Roy said? Because he says, I know the Lord, and I want to be baptized. And Roy wanted Pastor Mike, howdy, to baptize him because Pastor Mike was his first pastor. So guess what Roy did? He went back to Mike's church, howdy, and Pastor Mike, howdy, baptized him in the river. Wow, not in a bucket, but in the river. Everyone was so happy. God used the cowboy church, yee-haw, to help both Roy and Sandy know Jesus. Wasn't that a fantastic story? Well, let me tell you a little bit more. Well, first, let me ask you a few questions. Do you think that the cowboy church is different or similar to our church?
Different, because their church today have cowboys there, and they are and they talk country.
Yeah, but how similar is that to our church?
We both talk about God, and we learn about Him and worship Him.
That is absolutely right. Do you think that we could help Pastor Mike?
The pray?
We can pray for him, right? So that he can start other cowboy churches, just like Roy and Sandy came to know the Lord at their cowboy church. Well, so as we draw closer to the final closing of our mission moment, we can't forget the importance of the Annie Armstrong Easter offering. Now let me tell you a little bit about this lady. You know what? You can't stop Annie. Annie was born more than 100 years ago. Woo-wee! It was a time when people didn't expect women to be leaders. But Annie didn't let that stop her. She had to speak up because guess what? Annie loved too. Annie loved Jesus. And she wanted others to love him too. Annie served as the first executive director of the Women's Missionary Union. She led efforts to lead missions and organizations for children. Annie raised money to build churches for Cuba as well as for missionaries who served immigrants. She spoke up for the Native Americans and the mountain people. Woo! Well, guess what? Today churches, what do you think today churches do for Annie?
They do the Easter and offering.
That's right. And they support more than 5,000 missionaries in the United States and in Canada. Our gifts help missionaries start new churches and meet the needs of people. Woo! But you know what? She may have lived over 100 years ago, but did that stop Annie?
No.
No way. Many people raised in North America, where we live, right, do not know Jesus. They don't know that Jesus loves them. So when we give our money and we support missionaries, we help those missionaries share the hope and love that is found in Jesus Christ. So, Reese, let me ask you, how can you help? How can we help give to the Annie Armstrong Easter offering?
We can get money, and we if you have some money or some coins or any of that money, even a little extra and some that your dad has, you can ask and you can all put it in the Easter egg offering.
That's right. And what's the other thing that we can do for our missionaries? We can pray for them. Well, I want to leave you today with this verse as our prayer. And it says this: go and learn what this means. I want mercy and not sacrifice. I have not come to get those who think they are right with God to follow me. I have come to get sinners to follow me. Matthew 9:13. Go for it!